Fall asleep to a storm of swords, a gentle summary of Book 3. Welcome back again. Find your comfortable place, let your breathing slow, and prepare yourself for the continuation of our journey through Westeros. This is a darker chapter in many ways, filled with loss and transformation, but also with small moments of hope, unexpected connections, and the quiet strength of those who endure. Take a deep breath. Release the tensions of your day. There is no need to hold on to every detail, no need to grip tightly. Let the story flow over you like a gentle stream, carrying you toward rest. We begin where we left the realm, fractured, bleeding, caught in the chaos of war. 5 kings have become fewer. The Game of Thrones continues its deadly dance. The Red Wedding. Perhaps we should begin with the darkest moment, the event that will reshape everything that follows. Get comfortable, for this is a difficult tale, but it must be told. Robb Stark, the young wolf, king in the north, has been winning battles but losing the war. His kingdom is tired. His resources are stretched thin. And he has made a critical error. He broke his promise to marry one of Lord Walder Frey's daughters, choosing instead to wed Jane Westerling, a girl from a minor house. Lord Walder Frey is not a man who forgives slights. He controls the twins, the vital river crossing that Robb's army needs. Without Frey's support, Robb cannot move his forces effectively. So Robb decides to make amends. He will go to the twins with his pregnant wife, his mother Catelyn, and his closest bannermen. His uncle Edmure Tully will marry a Frey daughter in Robb's place, healing the breach between their houses. It seems like a reasonable solution. Robb is confident. He has fought honorably, won his battles. Surely Lord Walder will accept this compromise. The wedding takes place with great ceremony. The feast is lavish, the wine flows freely. Edmure's bride, Roslyn Frey, is surprisingly lovely and kind. The mood is celebratory. Perhaps, everyone thinks, peace is possible. Catelyn sits at the high table, trying to relax, trying to believe that everything will be well. She has lost so much already, her husband Ned, her daughters scattered and lost, her sons Bran and Rickon supposedly dead. She needs to believe that at least Robb is safe, that at least the North might survive. Then she notices something strange. The musicians are wrong. One of them is wearing chainmail beneath his clothes. She sees the glint of metal. Her heart begins to race. Something is wrong. The musicians begin playing the Rains of Castamere, the Lannister song about the destruction of House Rain, a house that defied them. It is a warning, a signal, a threat-made music. Before Catelyn can cry out, before she can warn Robb, the musicians draw weapons. The doors slam shut. Frey men appear with crossbows. And the slaughter begins. Robb is hit by crossbow bolts. He staggers, trying to reach his mother, his hands clutching at the bolts piercing his body. Catelyn screams his name. Outside, in the camps, the Stark army is being massacred. They are unarmed, drunk, trusting in guest right, the sacred law that says a host must never harm his guests. The Freys have broken this most fundamental law, and they are butchering men who cannot defend themselves. Catelyn grabs Jingle Bell, one of Walder Frey's simple-minded grandsons, holds a knife to his throat. She threatens to kill him if they don't release Robb. But Lord Walder Frey laughs at her. He doesn't care about this grandson. The fool's a fool, he says with a shrug. Roose Bolton, one of Robb's own bannermen, steps forward. He has betrayed them, made a pact with Tywin Lannister. He stabs Robb through the heart, leaning close to whisper, "The Lannisters send their regards." Robb dies reaching for his mother, calling her name. Something breaks inside Catelyn. She kills Jingle Bell, pointlessly, mechanically. Then someone comes behind her and cuts her throat. Her last thoughts are of her children, Robb dead before her, Sansa and Arya lost, Bran and Rickon gone, little Rickon who was so young. She dies in a spreading pool of blood, and with her dies the hope of the North. The Red Wedding is over. The king in the North is dead. His army is destroyed. The Stark cause appears finished. In mockery, the Freys sew the head of Robb's direwolf, Grey Wind, onto his body and parade it before the survivors. The king in the North becomes a grotesque puppet, a warning to anyone who might think of rebelling again. Outside the twins, a small girl arrives with a large, scarred man. Arya Stark has traveled so far, endured so much, hoping to reunite with her family. She and the Hound reach Rob's camp just in time to see it burning, to watch men dying, to understand that she is too late. She sees her brother's desecrated body and cannot even scream. The Hound grabs her, pulls her away before she can be recognized and killed. She fights him with all her strength, but he is stronger. He carries her into the darkness, away from the massacre, away from hope. Arya is 10 years old, and she has lost everything. Her father, her mother, her brother, her home. She is utterly alone in a world that has shown her nothing but cruelty. Let this tragedy settle over you like snow, cold and quiet. The Red Wedding is the darkest moment in our tale, a violation of every sacred law, a betrayal so profound that it will echo through the ages. Guest right is broken. Honor is dead. The North is broken. But the story does not end here. Even in the deepest darkness, life continues. People endure. And in endurance, there is a kind of strength. Breathe slowly. Let the weight of this sorrow pass through you. It is heavy, yes, but you need not carry it. Simply acknowledge it, feel it, and then let it flow away like water. The Starks are scattered, but they are not all dead. And winter, as they always warned, is coming. Arya and the Hound. After the Red Wedding, Arya travels with the Hound through the war-torn Riverlands. He has lost his chance at ransom. The Starks who would have paid for her return are dead. But he keeps her anyway, perhaps thinking of other options, perhaps simply because releasing her would mean her certain death. They are an unlikely pair, this small, fierce girl and the large, scarred man. Arya hates him. He is on her list, one of the people she wants dead. Yet he also protects her, teaches her, keeps her alive. The Hound is brutal and cynical. He mocks everything Arya believes about knights and honor. Save yourself some pain, girl, and give up on the heroes, he tells her. But he also shows her how to survive in a world without mercy. They move from place to place, taking what they need, avoiding armies and bandits. Arya is changing. The soft girl from Winterfell is being burned away, replaced by something harder, something necessary for survival. She kills a man at an inn, stabbing him repeatedly, long after he is dead. The Hound watches and says nothing. He recognizes the darkness growing in her because he sees it in himself. Every night, Arya whispers her list: Joffrey, Cersei, Eileen Payne, Meryn Trant, the Mountain, the Hound, Walder Frey, Roose Bolton. The names of those she will kill someday, if she lives long enough. The Hound is on that list, yet he travels with her, keeps her safe. There is something almost like companionship between them, though neither would call it that. They try to reach Lysa Arryn at the Vale, Catelyn's sister, thinking she might pay ransom for Arya. But when they arrive at the Bloody Gate, they learn that Lysa is dead, fallen from a window. Another plan ruined, another door closed. The Hound is wounded in a fight with soldiers. The wound festers. He grows weak, feverish. Arya has a choice. She could help him, try to save him. Or she could leave him to die. She chooses to leave him. Not from mercy, not from hatred, but from a cold pragmatism that would have been impossible for the girl she was. She takes his silver and walks away, leaving him under a tree, dying slowly. "I'll tell you what," she says before she leaves, "I'll buy you a gift. It is not kindness. It is not cruelty. It is simply the end of their time together." Arya makes her way to a port city. She has the coin that Jaqen H'ghar gave her long ago, the coin from a faceless man of Bravos. She shows it to a ship captain and speaks the words, "Vela Morgulis." All men must die. The captain recognizes the coin immediately. He gives her passage without question, even gives her a cabin. The faceless men are that respected, or perhaps that feared. Arya sails away from Westeros, leaving behind her family, her home, her name. She is going to Bravos, to the House of Black and White, to become something else. Not Arya Stark of Winterfell, but no one. A girl with many faces and no identity. On the ship, she watches Westeros disappear behind her. She is 11 years old, an orphan, a girl who has killed, who has lost everything, who carries only a short list of names and a determination that burns like cold fire. Picture her on that ship, small and alone, looking back at the only world she has known, sailing toward an unknown future. She is leaving, but she will return one day. And when she returns, she will bring death with her. Let this image soothe you: a ship on calm water, sails full of wind, a girl standing at the rail. The journey is just beginning. The past is behind, the future unknown. There is peace in leaving, in setting aside what was and embracing what might be. Arya is learning to let go of Arya. And in that letting go, she may become someone far more dangerous than a little girl from the north could ever be. Jon Snow and the Wall. At the Wall, Jon Snow has returned to his brothers after his time with the wildlings. He is wounded, Ygritte shot him with arrows as he fled, but he is alive. He has brought crucial intelligence: the wildlings are coming, tens of thousands of them, led by Mance Rayder, planning to attack Castle Black and breach the wall. But Jon is not welcomed as a hero. Many of his brothers doubt him. They think he truly turned traitor, that his loyalty is questionable. Yonos Slynt, a former commander of the City Watch in King's Landing, now at the Wall, particularly hates Jon and works to undermine him. The wildling army approaches. The Night's Watch is desperately undermanned. Where they should have thousands, they have barely 100 men to defend Castle Black. The attack comes from both sides: Mance's main army from the north and a smaller force, including giants and mammoths, from the south. The battle is fierce and desperate. Jon fights bravely, commands a group of defenders, shows leadership and skill. During the battle, Ygritte is there, shooting arrows with deadly accuracy. Jon sees her. She sees him. For a moment, their eyes meet across the chaos. She still loves him. He still loves her. Then an arrow strikes Ygritte. She falls. Jon rushes to her, holds her as she dies. Her last words are soft: "You know nothing, Jon Snow." But she says it with affection, almost with a smile. She dies in his arms, and Jon weeps for her, for what they had, for what can never be. The battle continues. The Night's Watch holds, barely. Donal Noy, the one-armed armorer, fights a giant in the tunnel beneath the wall and kills it, though he dies in the effort. Men fight and die, and Castle Black is a scene of horror and heroism intermingled. When the battle finally ends, the Night's Watch has survived, but they are broken, exhausted, outnumbered. Mance's army is still out there, still massive, still capable of crushing them if he attacks again. Jon makes a desperate decision. He will go out alone, cross to the wildling camp, and attempt to assassinate Mance Rayder. It is almost certainly a suicide mission, but if he succeeds, the wildling army might fracture without their leader. He walks out into the cold, heading toward Mance's camp, prepared to die. But as he approaches, something unexpected happens. A massive cavalry force appears from the south. It is Stannis Baratheon's army, the forces he saved from his defeat at the Blackwater, riding north to the wall. Stannis has come to the aid of the Night's Watch, attacking the wildlings from behind. The wildling army, caught between the wall and Stannis's cavalry, is routed. Mance Rayder is captured. The immediate threat is ended. Jon meets with Stannis. The king recognizes Jon's value, his knowledge, his leadership. Stannis offers Jon something astonishing: he will legitimize him, make him Jon Stark instead of Jon Snow, and name him Lord of Winterfell. It is everything Jon has ever wanted. To be a Stark, not a bastard. To have a home, a name, a place. To be someone. But accepting would require Jon to forsake his vows to the Night's Watch, to abandon his brothers. And it would mean bending the knee to Stannis, accepting him as king. Jon is torn. The offer is tempting beyond measure. But he remembers his vows. He remembers why he joined the Watch. He thinks of his father, of honor, of duty. Meanwhile, the Night's Watch holds an election for a new Lord Commander. Jeor Mormont is dead, killed in a mutiny beyond the wall. They need new leadership. Jon is nominated, though he is young and many oppose him. The election is close, going back and forth between Jon and other candidates. It seems Jon will lose. But at the last moment, Samwell Tarly, Jon's best friend, manages a political maneuver that wins Jon the election. Jon Snow becomes the 998th Lord Commander of the Night's Watch at age 15. He must lead men older and more experienced than himself. He must defend the wall. He must deal with Stannis, with the wildling prisoners, with the 1,000 problems of an ancient institution that is crumbling. And he must refuse Stannis's offer. As Lord Commander, he cannot become Lord of Winterfell. He must remain Jon Snow, bastard, black brother, watcher on the wall. It is a bittersweet victory. Jon has power now, but he has given up the dream he held his entire life. He will never be a Stark. He will never have a family or a home. He is married to the wall and to his duty. Picture Jon in the Lord Commander's quarters, looking out at the wall, feeling the weight of command settle on his young shoulders. He is exhausted, wounded, grieving for Ygritte, for his family, for the life he will never have. But he stands his watch. That is what men of the Night's Watch do. They stand their watch, winter after winter, until death takes them. Let this image rest in your mind, a young man accepting responsibility far beyond his years, choosing duty over desire, honor over happiness. There is nobility in such sacrifice, even if no one will ever fully appreciate it. Jon Snow knows nothing, Ygritte said. But perhaps he knows the most important thing, that some oaths matter more than personal happiness, that the watch must continue, that winter is coming and someone must stand against it. Bran's journey north. Far from the chaos of war and politics, Bran Stark travels north from Winterfell. After Theon's capture of the castle and the massacre that followed, Bran and his little brother Rickon escaped with Osha the wildling woman, Hodder the simple-minded stable boy, and the Reed children, Jojen and Mira. They have been traveling for months, hiding, surviving in the wilderness. Bran rides on Hodder's back, for his legs are useless. But he has other abilities now, powers he is only beginning to understand. He can enter Summer's mind, his direwolf, and see through the wolf's eyes, run on 4 legs instead of 2. He is a warg, connected to his wolf in ways most people could never understand. But Jojen Reed tells him there is more. Jojen has the green sight, the ability to see visions of the future in dreams. He tells Bran that Bran is meant for something greater, that he must go north, beyond the wall, to find the 3-eyed crow from his dreams. Bran doesn't fully understand. He is just a crippled boy. What could he possibly do? But Jojen is insistent. Bran has a destiny, a purpose, and it lies in the far north. They reach the wall at a place called the Night Fort, an abandoned castle along its length. It is a haunted place, full of dark legends and cold stone. But there is a secret passage through the wall here, the Black Gate, which opens for men of the Night's Watch. Samwell Tarly and a wildling girl named Gilly, fleeing from the disaster beyond the wall, arrive at the Night Fort at the same time. Sam helps Bran's group pass through the gate, though he doesn't fully understand why they want to go north into such danger. Bran's group splits here. Osha takes little Rickon and his direwolf, Shagadog, and goes east, toward the Umbers, hoping to find safety for the youngest Stark. Bran continues north with Hodder and the Reeds, following Jojen's visions. They travel into the haunted forest, into the wild lands beyond the wall where few men dare to go. They encounter wonders and terrors, ancient trees, strange creatures, the cold that seeps into your bones. Jojen grows weaker as they travel. His visions are killing him slowly, taking something essential from him each time he sees the future. But he insists they must continue. Bran must reach the 3-eyed crow. Finally, after a long and terrible journey, they find it, a cave, hidden and ancient, where massive weirwood roots grow through stone. And there, within the roots, sitting in a carved throne of living wood, is a figure that was once a man. He calls himself the 3-eyed crow, though he is also known as the last green seer. He has been alive for over 1,000 years, sustained by the weirwood roots, more tree than man now. His body is withered, grown into the roots, but his mind is vast and strange. He has been waiting for Bran. He tells the boy that he will teach him to fly. Not with wings, but with his mind. Bran will learn to enter not just wolves but any creature. More than that, he will learn to enter the weirwood trees, to see through their carved eyes across vast distances and even through time. Bran is the last green seer, the boy says. He is the heir to an ancient magic, a power that can see all things through the trees, that can touch the past and perhaps shape the future. The training begins. It is difficult, painful, strange. Bran sits among the roots and learns to see beyond seeing, to fly beyond flying. He has lost his legs, but he is gaining something far greater. Picture Bran in that cave, surrounded by ancient roots, his body still but his mind soaring. He touches trees far away and sees through their eyes. He watches the past unfold like a tapestry. He begins to understand that his fall from that tower in Winterfell was not just an accident but a turning point, the moment when he stopped being one thing and began becoming something else. Let this mystical image settle over you, a boy becoming more than human, roots growing around him, time and space bending to his slowly awakening power. He is becoming something ancient and necessary, though he doesn't yet understand what that means. In the quiet of the cave, far from the wars of men, Bran Stark begins his transformation. He is learning to fly, just as the three-eyed crow promised. And though it will take years, perhaps decades, he is becoming something the world desperately needs. Rest with this image, roots and stone, silence and darkness, and a boy learning to see everything. There is peace here, far from violence and betrayal, in the deep magic of the world. Sansa in the Eyrie. Sansa Stark remains a prisoner, though her circumstances have changed dramatically. After the Red Wedding, when news reaches King's Landing of her family's destruction, Sansa becomes even more valuable as the key to the north. Lord Petyr Baelish, Littlefinger, has been working his schemes. He arranges for Sansa to be smuggled out of King's Landing during the chaos of Joffrey's wedding. He takes her to the Vale, where her aunt Lysa Arryn rules. Sansa is relieved to escape King's Landing, to be away from Joffrey and Cersei and the constant threat of death. But she quickly learns that the Vale is not the sanctuary she hoped for. Lysa Arryn has loved Petyr Baelish her entire life, and he has finally agreed to marry her. But Lysa is unstable, paranoid, jealous. She sees the way Littlefinger looks at Sansa, sees that Sansa resembles her mother Catelyn, whom Littlefinger loved. Lysa's son, Robert Arryn, is a sickly, spoiled boy who still nurses at his mother's breast though he is far too old for it. The Vale itself is beautiful but isolated, protected by mountains from the wars tearing apart the rest of the realm. Sansa tries to be careful, to be courteous and invisible as she learned in King's Landing. But Littlefinger watches her with an intensity that makes her uncomfortable. He tells her she must trust him, that he is protecting her, but she senses something wrong in his attention. One day, Littlefinger kisses Sansa in the Godswood. It is not a fatherly kiss. Lysa sees them. She becomes enraged, consumed by jealous fury. She drags Sansa to the Moon Door, a hole in the floor of the throne room that opens onto a 600-foot drop into the mountains below. Lysa screams at Sansa, threatens to throw her through the Moon Door. She accuses Sansa of seducing Littlefinger, of being a temptress like her mother. Then Littlefinger arrives. He calms Lysa, speaks soothingly to her. She believes he is defending her, protecting their love. He embraces her at the edge of the Moon Door, and then he pushes her through. Lysa falls, screaming, down into the void. Littlefinger watches her fall with cold eyes. He has murdered his wife hours after she threatened Sansa. He turns to Sansa and tells her not to worry. He will protect her. He has always loved her mother, and now he will take care of Catelyn's daughter. Everything he does for love. For his twisted, obsessive love of Catelyn, transferred now to Sansa. Sansa realizes she has escaped one prison only to find herself in another. Littlefinger is dangerous, perhaps more dangerous than the Lannisters because his obsession is personal. He wants her, wants to possess her, wants to mold her into the woman Catelyn never was for him. But Sansa is learning. She has survived Joffrey and Cersei. She can survive this too. She watches Littlefinger, studies him, begins to understand how he thinks, how he manipulates, how he plays the game. She pretends to be grateful, pretends to trust him. She plays the role of the innocent girl he wants her to be. But inside, she is becoming something else. She is learning the game, understanding power and manipulation and the masks people wear. Littlefinger tells her she must call him father now, at least in public. She must pretend to be his bastard daughter, not Sansa Stark. Her name is Elaine Stone. Her red hair is dyed brown. She is hidden in plain sight. Picture Sansa in the Eyrie, looking out at the mountains, wearing a mask of innocence while learning to be someone new. She has lost her family, her name, her freedom. But she is gaining knowledge, understanding, the tools she will need to survive and perhaps, one day, to take back what was stolen from her. Let this image rest, a girl looking out at snow-covered peaks, beautiful and deadly. She is trapped, yes, but she is also learning. And in learning, she is becoming dangerous. The Game of Thrones is not over for Sansa Stark. It has only just begun. Tyrion's trial. In King's Landing, Tyrion Lannister's life takes a dark turn. He is still recovering from his wounds from the Battle of the Blackwater, his face horribly scarred, his nose mostly gone. He receives no thanks for saving the city. His father Tywin has taken credit for the victory. Tyrion is married off to Sansa Stark, a political move to give the Lannisters a claim to the north. The marriage is awkward and sad. Sansa is polite but terrified. Tyrion tries to be kind, refuses to consummate the marriage without her willing consent, but they are both trapped in an arrangement neither wants. Then comes the royal wedding. Joffrey is to marry Margaery Tyrell, uniting the Lannisters and Tyrells in a powerful alliance. The wedding is grand, lavish, full of pageantry and celebration. During the wedding feast, Joffrey torments Tyrion, mocking him, forcing him to be his cupbearer, humiliating him in front of everyone. Tyrion endures it with clenched teeth, drinking wine to dull the rage and shame. Then Joffrey begins to choke. His face turns purple. He claws at his throat. He is being poisoned, dying in front of everyone at his own wedding. Cersei immediately accuses Tyrion. She screams that he murdered her son. Tyrion is arrested, dragged away while Joffrey dies in his mother's arms. Tyrion knows he is innocent, but evidence is planted against him. The poison was in Joffrey's wine cup, and Tyrion was serving as his cupbearer. Witnesses are bribed or threatened into testifying against him. His own father, Tywin, offers him no help, perhaps seeing an opportunity to be rid of his embarrassing dwarf son. Tyrion is put on trial. It is a farce, a performance. Everyone knows the verdict before the trial begins. Witness after witness comes forward to speak against him, often lying, always painting him as monstrous. Then Shae, Tyrion's former lover, the woman he protected and cared for, testifies against him. She lies, claiming Tyrion and Sansa plotted together to kill Joffrey. Her betrayal cuts deeper than any wound. He loved her, and she has destroyed him. Tyrion, broken and furious, demands trial by combat. It is his right, and he will use it. His champion is Oberyn Martell, the Red Viper of Dawn, a visiting prince who has his own grievances against the Lannisters. Oberyn's sister was murdered by Gregor Clegane, the Mountain, years ago during Robert's rebellion. Oberyn wants revenge. The Lannisters choose Gregor Clegane as their champion. The trial by combat will pit the Red Viper against the Mountain, speed and poison against strength and armor. The fight takes place before a huge crowd. It is brutal and elegant by turns. Oberyn is a master fighter, his spear tipped with poison. He dances around the mountain, striking again and again, each blow adding more poison to the giant knight system. Oberyn is winning. The Mountain is wounded, poisoned, dying. Tyrion's hopes rise. He will be vindicated. But Oberon's need for confession overcomes his caution. He demands that the mountain admit to murdering his sister, confess who gave the order. He gets too close, too focused on words rather than finishing the kill. The mountain grabs him. In moments of horrible violence, the mountain crushes Oberon's skull with his bare hands, killing him even as the poison courses through his own body. Tyrion has lost. The verdict is death. He is dragged back to his cell to await execution. Picture Tyrion in that cell, all hope gone, betrayed by everyone he loved or trusted. He is a good man in a family of monsters, and he will die for a crime he didn't commit. The injustice is profound, and there seems to be no escape. Let this image settle, a small man in a dark cell, the weight of condemnation upon him, waiting for death. Sometimes the innocent suffer while the guilty prosper. Sometimes there is no justice, no redemption, only the cold reality of power and the willingness to use it. But Tyrion's story is not quite over. Even in the darkest moment, even when all hope seems lost, fate sometimes offers unexpected paths. Jaime and Brienne. Jaime Lannister and Brienne of Tarth continue their strange journey together. After Jaime loses his hand, after they survive captivity and the pit with the bear, they finally reach King's Landing. Jaime has changed. Losing his sword hand has shattered his identity. He was the best swordsman in the realm, and now he is crippled, useless. Everything he defined himself by is gone. But he has also gained something, understanding, perhaps, or humility. His time with Brienne has shown him that there are still people who believe in oaths and honor, who mean what they say. He gives Brienne a sword, reforged from Ned Stark's greatsword Ice, and names it Oathkeeper. He gives her armor and sends her on a quest, to find Sansa Stark, to protect her, to fulfill the oath Brienne made to Catelyn Stark. Brienne is confused by this generosity, this trust. Jaime, the Kingslayer, the man everyone calls Oathbreaker, is helping her keep an oath. He is not the simple villain she thought. They part as something like friends, though neither quite knows how to name what has grown between them. Mutual respect, certainly. Understanding. Perhaps something deeper that neither will acknowledge. Jaime remains in King's Landing, trying to figure out who he is without his sword hand, without his identity as a warrior. He takes command of the Kingsguard, tries to be better than he has been, tries to find honor in a place that has none. Brienne travels the Riverlands, searching for Sansa, finding only violence and broken people. The war has devastated the countryside. Everywhere she goes, she sees the cost of the Game of Thrones played out on the bodies of small folk who had no choice in any of it. Picture them, Jaime in King's Landing, learning to fight left-handed, trying to redeem a lifetime of choices he now questions. Brienne on the road, searching for a girl who may already be dead, keeping an oath that may be impossible to fulfill. Both of them are trying to be better than they were, trying to find honor in a dishonorable world. It is a quiet kind of heroism, unglamorous and difficult. Let this image rest, two damaged people, trying to find their way towards something better, separated by distance but connected by mutual understanding. Sometimes the most important relationships are the ones that challenge us to become better than we are. Daenerys the Conqueror. Across the narrow sea, Daenerys Targaryen is building an army and a legend. She has left Qarth with her dragons and a small group of followers. She sails to Astapor, one of the great slave cities of Slaver's Bay. Astapor is famous for its unsullied, slave soldiers trained from childhood to be perfect warriors. They feel no pain, no fear, no mercy. They are weapons in human form, and they are very expensive. Dany needs an army if she is ever to retake Westeros. The Unsullied are the finest soldiers money can buy. But Dany is troubled by slavery. She has been a slave herself, sold by her brother, used as a bargaining chip. She understands what it means to be property rather than person. The slave masters of Astapor agree to sell her their Unsullied, all 8,000 of them, for a price, one of her dragons. Dany's advisors are horrified. Dragons are priceless, irreplaceable. The Unsullied, no matter how skilled, are just soldiers. But Dany agrees to the trade. She will give them Drogon, her largest and fiercest dragon, in exchange for every Unsullied in Astapor. The exchange is made in the city plaza. Dany hands over Drogon's chain to the slave master. He gloats, thinking he has outsmarted this young girl, this beggar queen who knows nothing of the world. Then Dany reveals her plan. She speaks to the Unsullied in their own language, Valyrian, which she has been secretly learning. She tells them they are free, that she gives them their freedom, that they can go where they wish. Then she commands Drogon, Dracarys. Dragon fire. The dragons attack. The slave masters burn. The Unsullied stand motionless, waiting for orders. They have been freed, but they know nothing but obedience. Dany asks them, "Will you fight for me as free men, not as slaves? Will you follow me by choice, not by compulsion?" The Unsullied kneel. They choose to follow her. She has given them something no one else ever has, freedom. And they give her their loyalty in return. Dany doesn't stop at Astapor. She moves on to Yunkai, another slave city. She demands they free their slaves. When they refuse, she conquers them. Her dragons grow larger, more powerful. Her army grows. The freed slaves follow her, calling her Mysa, which means mother. Then she comes to Meereen, the greatest of the slave cities. Outside its walls, she finds crucified children, 163 of them, nailed to posts as a warning to her. The slave masters wanted to show her what they thought of her crusade against slavery. Dany is filled with righteous fury. She conquers Meereen after a long siege. And when she takes the city, she has 163 of the great masters crucified in turn, the same number as the children they killed. Justice, she calls it, though some might call it vengeance. She claims Meereen as her own. She will rule here, she decides. She will learn to govern, to be a queen, not just a conqueror. Westeros can wait. First, she must prove she can rule justly and well. Her dragons are growing. They are becoming harder to control, more independent. Drogon, the largest, has begun hunting on his own, sometimes taking livestock, sometimes taking children. Dany is troubled by this. She chains 2 of her dragons in the pyramid's depths, breaking her own heart to do so. But Drogon disappears, flying off into the wilderness, free and wild. Dany sits on her throne in Meereen, surrounded by former slaves who love her and former masters who hate her. She is trying to be a good queen, to bring justice to a place that has known only cruelty. But ruling is harder than conquering. Every decision has consequences she didn't foresee. Every choice leaves someone angry or hurt. She thinks often of Westeros, the home she has never seen, the throne she believes is her birthright. But she is young, and she is learning. One day she will return to the land of her birth. But for now, she stays in Meereen, practicing the art of ruling, building her strength, letting her dragons grow. Picture Daenerys on her throne, silver hair braided in the Dothraki style, her small dragons chained in the darkness below, her people both loving and fearing her. She is a queen now, not just a girl with a dream. She is the mother of dragons, the breaker of chains, and she is only beginning to understand what that means. Let this image rest, a young woman trying to bring justice to an unjust world, making hard choices, learning from mistakes, growing into power. She is far from perfect, but she is trying. And in a world where most rulers care only for their own advancement, trying matters. Tyrion's escape. Back in King's Landing, Tyrion sits in his cell awaiting execution. He has lost his trial. He has been betrayed by everyone he loved. There is no hope left. Then, on the night before he is to die, his brother Jaime comes to him. Jaime has arranged an escape. He has bribed guards, planned a route out of the city. He is saving Tyrion's life, even though it means betraying their father, even though it could cost him everything. Tyrion is overwhelmed. Jaime, who has his own complications and flaws, is doing this out of brotherly love. It is a gift Tyrion never expected. But before they part, Jaime tells Tyrion the truth about something that happened years ago. Tyrion's first wife, Tysha, the girl he married when he was 13, Jaime reveals that she was not a prostitute as Tywin claimed. She was a real girl who really loved Tyrion. Tywin forced Jaime to lie about her, to tell Tyrion it was all arranged, to break his heart so thoroughly he would never trust love again. This revelation shatters something in Tyrion. All these years, he believed himself unlovable, believed Tysha's affection was bought and paid for. Now he knows she loved him truly, and his father destroyed it out of cruelty and disdain. Tyrion should run. He should escape while he can. But the rage in him is too great. Instead, he goes to the Tower of the Hand, to his father's chambers. There he finds Shae, his lover who betrayed him, in his father's bed. She calls him my giant of Lannister, the pet name she used, and something breaks in Tyrion. He kills her, strangling her with the golden chain she wears. Then he finds his father in the privy. Tywin sits there, caught in an undignified moment, vulnerable. Tyrion has a crossbow. He confronts his father, demanding to know why Tywin has always hated him, why he destroyed Tysha, why he would let his own son be executed for a crime he didn't commit. Tywin is cold, dismissive even now. He calls Tysha a whore. He shows no remorse, no love, no recognition of Tyrion as anything but a disappointment and an embarrassment. Tyrion shoots him. The bolt takes Tywin in the belly. Tywin looks shocked, perhaps for the first time in his life losing control of a situation. Tyrion shoots him again. Tywin Lannister, the most powerful man in Westeros, Lord of Casterly Rock, Hand of the King, dies on a privy, killed by the son he despised. Tyrion flees then, helped by Varys the Spider, who smuggles him out of King's Landing in a crate. He sails east, toward Essos, a wanted man, a kinslayer, a patricide. He has his freedom but has lost everything else. His family, his home, his name, his self-respect. He has become the monster they always said he was. Or perhaps he has simply done what was necessary to survive. Picture Tyrion in the darkness of that crate, sailing away from everything he has ever known, carrying the weight of murder and betrayal and loss. He is free, but freedom has cost him his soul, or so it feels in the darkness. Let this dark image settle, a man who tried to be good in a family of monsters, finally becoming monstrous himself. Sometimes the world gives us no good choices, only terrible ones. And we must live with the consequences of the terrible choices we make. Tyrion Lannister is going into exile, and Westeros will not see him again for some time. But his story is not over. Even in darkness, even in disgrace, life continues. The death of kings. Throughout this third book, many die. The Red Wedding claims Robb Stark and Catelyn. Joffrey Baratheon dies at his own wedding, poisoned by his own family, for it was not Tyrion who killed him, but Olenna Tyrell, the Queen of Thorns, who wanted her granddaughter Margaery freed from marriage to a monster. Tywin Lannister dies on a privy, shot by his own son. Lysa Arryn falls through the moon door, pushed by the man who claimed to love her. Ygritte dies in Jon Snow's arms. Oberyn Martell has his skull crushed seeking revenge. So many deaths, each one rippling out to affect dozens of other lives. The Game of Thrones is deadly, and it shows no mercy to players or pawns alike. But death is not the end of the story. In a land by a river, the Brotherhood without banners finds a body floating in the water. It is Catelyn Stark, or what was Catelyn Stark, days dead, throat cut, body bloated and decaying. Thoros of Myr, the Red Priest who has brought Beric Dondarrion back from death 6 times, tries once more to use his god's power. Beric gives his own life force, sacrificing himself to bring Catelyn back. She rises. But she is not the woman she was. She is broken, filled with rage and hatred, capable only of seeking revenge. Her throat was cut, so she cannot speak except in rasping whispers. Her heart has hardened to stone. She remembers only betrayal and murder. She takes command of the Brotherhood, turning them from protectors of the small folk into instruments of vengeance. She hunts Frys and Boltons and anyone who had any part in the Red Wedding. She shows no mercy, gives no quarter. The Brotherhood begins calling her Lady Stoneheart. She is the vengeance of House Stark made flesh, a revenant returned from death with only one purpose, to make everyone who betrayed her family pay in blood. This is a dark resurrection, not a miracle but a curse. Catelyn is gone, and in her place is something terrible and necessary. The North remembers, and Lady Stoneheart will make sure those who violated guest right and murdered her son will never forget. Picture this undead woman leading her band through the Riverlands, hunting, killing, never resting. She is a ghost story made real, a warning that some crimes are too terrible to go unpunished, that death itself will not stop a mother's vengeance. Let this haunting image drift through your mind, justice and revenge blurred together, the dead rising to balance the scales, love transformed into hatred, a mother who has lost everything becoming an instrument of retribution. Beyond the Wall. The truth. Meanwhile, beyond the wall, the Night's Watch is learning the truth about what threatens them. The others are real. The dead walk. Winter is not just a season but an existential threat to all humanity. Jon Snow, as Lord Commander, must prepare for what is coming. He makes controversial decisions. He allows the wildlings to pass through the wall and settle in the Gift, the lands belonging to the Night's Watch. Better to have them as allies against the true enemy than as additional corpses for the others to raise. Many of his brothers hate this decision. They see the wildlings as enemies, not refugees. They do not understand the true threat. Jon is called traitor, wildling lover, oathbreaker. The very men he leads plot against him. But Jon does what he believes is right, even knowing it will make him enemies. He has learned from his father Ned that sometimes honor means doing the difficult thing, the unpopular thing, because it is necessary. Stannis Baratheon remains at the wall, urging Jon to help him retake the north from the Boltons. But Jon has sworn to take no part in the wars of the realm. He must remain neutral, must focus on the greater threat. The tension builds. The Watch is divided. The wildlings are restless. Stannis grows impatient. And beyond the wall, in the lands of always winter, the others gather their forces, patient and cold and utterly inhuman. Jon receives a letter, a terrible letter, claiming to be from Ramsay Bolton, the bastard son who has been legitimized and made heir to the Dreadfort. The letter says Stannis is dead, his army destroyed. It demands that Jon hand over Stannis's family members who are sheltering at the wall. It threatens horrors if Jon does not comply. Jon reads this letter before his men. He decides he can no longer remain neutral. He will ride south, gather the wildlings, and march on Winterfell to deal with Ramsay Bolton. It is a breaking of his vows, perhaps. Or perhaps it is the only thing he can do. Either way, it is a decision that will have consequences. But before Jon can act on this decision, his brothers turn on him. They have been planning it, the men who hate him for bringing wildlings through the wall, for making peace with the enemy, for seeming to forget what the Night's Watch is supposed to be. They call Jon out into the yard. They stab him, one by one, each man saying for the Watch as he drives his blade home. They kill their Lord Commander, believing they are saving the Night's Watch from a traitor. Jon Snow falls in the snow, bleeding from many wounds, and the world goes dark around him. His last word is Ghost, the name of his direwolf. Whether he is dead or dying, whether he will come back or remain gone, we do not know. His story ends in blood and snow and betrayal, another victim of the Game of Thrones, a casualty of doing what he thought was right. Picture Jon in the snow, the blood spreading around him, his white direwolf howling in grief and rage. The wall stands behind him, ancient and eternal, uncaring of the small human dramas that play out in its shadow. Let this tragic image settle, a young man trying to do his duty, killed by the very men he led, sacrificed because he saw a greater threat that others refused to believe in. Sometimes wisdom looks like madness to those who lack it. Sometimes doing the right thing gets you killed. The world in chaos. As the third book closes, Westeros is broken and bleeding. The War of Five Kings has ended not with clear victory but with exhaustion and betrayal. The Starks are scattered, believed dead or lost. The Lannisters hold King's Landing but have lost Tywin, their greatest mind. Stannis fights on in the north, but his cause seems doomed. In the Vale, Littlefinger schemes, molding Sansa into something new. In Dawn, the death of Oberyn Martell has enraged a people already angry at past wrongs. In the Iron Islands, Balon Greyjoy is dead, and his brothers vie for the Seastone chair. Across the Narrow Sea, Daenerys sits in Meereen, learning to rule, her dragons growing, her power building. One day she will return to Westeros, but that day is not yet here. At the Wall, Jon Snow lies in the snow, perhaps dead, perhaps dying, while beyond the wall the others march south, patient and inevitable as winter itself. The Game of Thrones continues, but the players are changing. The old guard is dying or dead. New powers are rising. And the true threat, the one that makes all the petty human conflicts meaningless, grows stronger in the cold and the darkness. Winter is here. The words of House Stark, spoken as warning for generations, have finally come true. Winter is here, and with it comes death and ice and the end of all things if humanity cannot unite against it. But humanity has never been good at unity. We fight each other over crowns and titles and slights both real and imagined. We betray and murder and scheme while the real danger grows stronger. This is the lesson of the third book, that our small human conflicts, however important they seem to us, are nothing compared to the great existential threats we refuse to see. That honor can get you killed. That love is dangerous. That family is both salvation and curse. That power corrupts almost everyone who touches it. Picture Westeros from high above, a land scarred by war, dotted with burned villages and mass graves, ruled by increasingly desperate people, watched by ancient forces that care nothing for human ambition. Winter has come, and the long night is beginning. Let all these images drift through your mind like snowflakes falling on dark water. The Red Wedding. Joffrey's purple face. Tyrion in his cell. Arya sailing away. Jon in the snow. Dany on her throne. Bran in his cave. Sansa in the Eyrie. Each character has been broken and remade by their experiences. None of them are who they were when we first met them. The Game of Thrones has changed them all, taken innocence and replaced it with scars and knowledge and power. Reflection and remembrance. As you drift toward sleep, let us revisit these stories from a distance, gently, without the sharp edges of their violence. Let us remember the themes that run through them like threads through tapestry. Family. The Starks scattered but not destroyed, each one carrying within them the memory of Winterfell, the teachings of their parents, the love they shared. Family is both strength and vulnerability in these stories. It is what drives Catelyn to her death and what gives Jon Snow his moral compass. Honor. Ned Stark died for his honor. Robb died in part because of his honor. Jon Snow lives by honor and is murdered for it. Yet honor is not shown as foolishness in these tales, but as something precious, even if it costs everything to maintain. Power. Who has it, who wants it, how it corrupts, how it isolates. Joffrey had power and was a monster. Tyrion had power briefly and tried to use it well. Daenerys is learning that power means making impossible choices, that ruling is harder than conquering. Survival. Arya learns it. Sansa learns it. Bran learns it. The lesson taught again and again, adapt or die. Change or be broken. Yet even in adaptation, something essential can be preserved. Let these themes wash over you like gentle waves. Family. Honor. Power. Survival. They are the great themes of human existence, explored through fantasy and violence and magic, but ultimately about the same questions we all face. Who am I? What do I owe to others? How do I live with integrity in a world that rewards cruelty? How do I survive without losing myself? The stories provide no easy answers. The good die young. The wicked prosper. Justice is rare and vengeance is costly. Love is dangerous and trust is often betrayed. Yet people go on. They love anyway. They trust anyway. They try to be good anyway, even knowing that goodness is no protection against harm. There is something profound in that persistence, that refusal to surrender to cynicism completely. The characters in these stories are damaged, yes, traumatized and broken in various ways. But they continue. They take the next step, make the next choice, try to find meaning in a world that often seems meaningless. Perhaps that is the real message, if there is one, that continuing matters. That trying matters. That even when you cannot win, even when the game is rigged against you, how you play still means something. Breathe slowly. Let these thoughts drift through your mind without holding on to them. They are simply reflections, ideas, possibilities. They need not be resolved or understood completely. Let them be like clouds passing overhead, noticed but not grasped. You are safe here. You are at rest. The struggles of Westeros are not your struggles. You can witness them from this comfortable distance, learn from them perhaps, but you need not carry their weight. Let go. Drift. Sleep approaches on quiet feet, and you welcome it. There is nothing you need to do, nowhere you need to be, nothing you need to resolve or understand or fix. Simply rest. Simply breathe. Simply be. The stories are told. The characters rest in their own ways, scattered across a fictional world, each one sleeping or waking, living or dying, but all of them far away from you now. You are here. Safe. Comfortable. Drifting toward the peace of deep sleep. Let the last images fade, the walls standing silent, dragons dreaming in darkness, wolves running through forests, a girl on a ship sailing toward an unknown future, a boy in a cave learning ancient magic, a young queen on a distant throne. All of it fading, softening, becoming less distinct, less important, as sleep draws nearer. Rest now. The story is complete. The journey is over. There is only peace now, only quiet, only the gentle descent into sleep. Breathe. Release. Rest. Sleep well, traveler. Until we meet again in the morning light, sleep well.